Right, this is the intro to product rule. And so what we're going to do is start with what we already know and then show how it's related to the product rule. So if we take 3x squared and multiply it by 5x to the fourth, we end up with 15x to the fourth. And this is the way we would normally do it, is we would simplify it first into one general power, general term, and then we use our rule. So 6 times 15 is what? So 6 times 15 is 90. And so you'd get 90x, and then we subtract 1 to the 5. So now what we're going to do is do it in the parts as well. So if I took the derivative of the first one, that would be 6x, and the derivative of the second one would be 20x cubed. So now to show you how the product rule works, here's the product rule. So we take the derivative of the first one, and then we multiply it by the second one untouched. And you put a plus, and then now you take the derivative of the second one, and you multiply it by the other one untouched. I don't need to put a dot there. You guys know what multiply looks like. So like that. And so this is the product rule. So what we're going to do is write it out in words what it says, because I like to say this stuff. So I always say derivative of first times second plus derivative of second times first. So it's derivative of this first times the second, and then derivative of the second times the first. So you do, I always think it as derivative 1 times 2 plus derivative of 2 times 1. Okay, so now we're going to apply it to show that it works the same way. So by doing this, we already knew the derivative for our h is 90x to the 5. So now what we're going to say is our h of x is equal to f of x, g of x, our first two. And so we're going to get f prime of x, g of x, plus g prime of x, f of x. So if I write these out with what we have up there, we'll be able to see what it is. So our f prime is 6x times our g, and our g is 5x to the fourth. And we put plus. And then our g prime, which is this one, times the first one. So you can see what we're really kind of doing is this like little cross multiply thing. It's these two first, and then these two second. So we're going 6x times 5x to the fourth, and then 20x cubed times 3x squared. So it's this one times this one, plus this one times this one. And then if we put it together, we get 30x to the fifth, plus 60x to the fifth, which equals 90x to the fifth. And that checks with what we got from before. So product rule is another way of working these, and sometimes we're going to have problems where you have to use product rule. Simplifying won't work. But if you can do simplify first, go for it. So we're going to do it both ways here. First, we're going to apply the product rule, and then simplify. And then here, we're going to simplify first, and then differentiate. So we're going to call our f here x cubed. That's the first one. And our g, we're going to call it 4 minus 3x squared. And then we're going to create the stuff we're going to need to plug in. So our f prime would be 3x squared, and our g prime would be 4 is 0 minus 6x, so we can get rid of the 0. So where I'm getting that from is you see there are two x's here. You want to find the multiply between them. So you have an x here and an x here. The multiply is there. So this is where we get to apply product rule. So our first factor is x cubed, and our second factor is 4 minus x, 3x squared. So we get this. And then we do our little cross multiply. So let me put that in green. And you always want to start with the bottom one. It'll just help. And we're going to get into the quotient rule as well. So dividing. So this would be for our y prime equals, put that back in blue, y prime equals, and it's 3x squared times 4 minus 3x squared plus, and then it's the other one, this one here, that way, negative 6x times x cubed. So this is one way of doing it. The other is just to do it brute force. So the derivative of x cubed would be 3x squared, and then you rewrite the second one. And then we take the derivative of the second one, which would be negative 6x times the first one, which is x cubed. And then now we simplify. So we have to distribute here. So that's 12x squared minus 9x to the fourth minus 6x to the fourth. Putting that together, the negative 9 and negative 6 makes negative 15x to the fourth plus 12x squared. And that is our derivative. Now, with these problems, it's still easier just to simplify when you can. So if I were to distribute that, and then now take the derivative, I'm done. So the product rule is a method that we want to use, but simplifying first is always where we want to start. You can still see they're both the same answer here, but that is product rule. And we'll do some more examples in the next video.